Tartas. You know, you can just pick up the microphone from next to your seat.
cz this way. Denis Dubrovin, Tartas News Agency. Mr. Secretary General, we just had elections in Russia, so I would like to ask you if you have any comments to make on these elections, and if the change in leadership in Russia will affect in any way the cooperation between NATO and Russia. And my second question is on Libya. The International UN Commission has just published its report on the violations of human rights in Libya. It's a balanced document stressed on the violations of human rights by Gaddafi forces, opposition forces, and there are facts of the collateral losses due to NATO airstrikes. So there is also a demand of the investigation from NATO side of these facts. Is NATO aware of this report, and are there any plans to have such an investigation? Thank you very much.
Thank you. First, on the presidential elections in Russia, the results of the elections are not yet final, but I have noted the preliminary results, and I also note the concerns voiced by the OSCE and Council of Europe election monitors. From what I have seen from initial reports, the outcome is likely to be continuity in Russia's leadership and Russia's policies, and I would expect that continuity to include a continued engagement in positive dialogue and cooperation, as we agreed at the NATO-Russia summit in Lisbon in November 2010. And since our summit in Lisbon, we have made important progress in important areas. We have enhanced cooperation on Afghanistan, on counter-terrorism, on counter-narcotics, on counter-piracy, and I hope we will now be able to move forward in other areas, especially on missile defense. I think both Russia and NATO would benefit from such cooperation. In Lisbon, we decided to develop a true strategic partnership between NATO and Russia, and I hope to see progress in that respect. Now, on Libya, yes, I am aware of the report from the International Commission on Libya. As far as the concrete figures are concerned, I don't have any comments because I'm not able to verify these figures. But I welcome the Commission's conclusion that NATO, and now I quote from the Commission report, that NATO conducted a highly precise campaign with a demonstrable determination to avoid civilian casualties. And the Commission also recognized NATO's objective to take all necessary precautions to avoid civilian casualties entirely. And based on the report from this independent commission, I can also clearly state that NATO was not in breach of international law in the way we conducted the operation in Libya. We conducted operations in Libya in full accordance with the United Nations mandate and with international law. Of course, in a complex military campaign, the risk to civilians can never be zero, but we did everything to minimize it.
Answer.
just a follow-up about Russia. Are you not concerned about all the proclam about the rearmament that Putin made during his electoral campaign? And what about the NATO-Russia summit? It will be held in Chicago, definitely, or not? Thanks.
Well, as a politician, I'm used to hear many things during election campaigns. What counts is the concrete steps that are taken once the electorate has made its decision. And as I stated in my previous answer, I would expect continual progress in the cooperation between NATO and Russia. Obviously, we do not agree on everything. We have our disputes, we have our differences, but those differences should not overshadow the fact that in many areas we do share security concerns because we are faced with the same security challenges. And this is the reason why we should cooperate also on missile defense. And the second part of your question was? Sorry, yes. As far as a NATO-Russia summit in Chicago is concerned, I think it's premature to make any assessment. I think we'll have a NATO-Russia meeting if we can reach an agreement on missile defense. If we can't, there won't be any meeting. It is as simple as that. So maybe there won't be a meeting. But as I said in another context, Chicago will not be the end of the story. We will continue talks, negotiations with Russia also beyond our meeting in Chicago.
Georgian media?
Same question. Putin is going to become the president, so everyone knows his position about further expansion of NATO. He's against to expand NATO near his borders, near Russia's borders. So will his the statements some kind influence further expansion of NATO?
No third country, no third party can make decisions on behalf of NATO. NATO decides on our open door policy, and NATO's door remains open, and that will be reiterated in Chicago. NATO's door remains open to European countries that are in a position to contribute to the security in the North Atlantic region, and countries that are in a position to further the principles on which NATO is based. This is clearly stated in Article 10 of our treaty, and that still stands. So it's for NATO to decide on the open door policy. As far as Georgia is concerned, I would like to recall the decision we took in Bucharest in 2008, at the NATO summit in 2008, according to which Georgia will become a member of NATO, of course, provided that Georgia fulfills the necessary criteria. And we cooperate with Georgia within the NATO-Georgia Commission to make progress in that direction.
Financial Times?
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Peter Spiegel from the Financial Times. If I can get back to the opening question about the Libya report, because it is not completely complementary to NATO's conduct. Just to read one section, NATO's characterization of 4 or 5 targets where Commission found civilian casualties as command and control nodes or troop staging areas is not reflective of the evidence at the scene or witness testimony. It basically argues that given the information provided by NATO, it does not know whether the civilian deaths occur because there were legitimate military targets. Do you anticipate that NATO will follow up and provide the Commission with the information it is seeking to determine whether those legitimate military targets or not? Thank you, sir.
Let me stress that we have fully cooperated with the Commission. We provided them a significant amount of information, much of which has also had to be declassified. And you can read the reports we sent to the Commission because you can see them in the annexes to the report. And the Commission concluded that we conducted a highly precise campaign with a demonstrable determination to avoid civilian casualties. As far as NATO is concerned, I can also tell you that we have looked into every allegation of harm to civilians of which has been brought to our attention. And this has involved a thorough assessment of all NATO's records, from target selection to any other data gathered after the strike. This review process has confirmed that the targets we struck were legitimate military targets selected consistently with the United Nations mandate, and that great care was taken in each case to minimize risk to civilians. I can tell you that no target was approved or attacked if we had any evidence or reason to believe that civilians were at risk. I can also inform you that hundreds of possible targets were passed up and others were aborted at the last minute to avoid any risk to civilians. So we have really done everything we could.
Associated Press.